Hi, welcome to Promise Resource Network. This is Expansions. I'm Jane. We get to talk about spirituality. That's so excited. Y'all, if you are interested in joining these conversations, like in the for real life, please join us at 2224 The Plaza. Um, I'd love to have your human presence with me. If you're not able to, I enjoy your digital presence. I want to share a couple of things real quick before we begin. If you are looking for more peer support, if you're looking to be a peer support, you're looking how to support Promise Resource Network, or kind of want to know more information. Y'all, I've been stuttering all day. It's hilarious. If you want to know more information about Promise Resource Network, just in general, please call the welcome desk Monday through Friday about 8 o'clock to about 4:30. The number is 704-390-7709. Kim will guide you to exactly where you need to go and who you need to talk to. And also want to show you the warm line. So I know that right now there's a lot of stuff happening in the world, and sometimes we just really need or want a listening ear. So that's what the warm line is for. Call it. It's all day, every day, any day, wherever you are. It's available to you. The number is 833-390-7728. Yeah, use it, share it. Pretend it's like sugar-free candy that everybody wants. Just pay it forward. So now we can start to drop in. Let me get the chat up. So as you're hopping on, if you want to say, hey, I'll be able to see you, and I would like to know that you're here. Um, Let me know if you can hear everything okay. Hey, Linda, how are you? Yeah, I'm going to be talking with everyone here, and then I'll be kind of coming back and forth and infusing this digital world with this reality. I'm just going to merge realities. How about that? Boom. Sweet. Linda can hear me. Sweet. Hello. Ben Harris is in the house. He says good evening to everyone.
Good evening, man.
So you're being acknowledged. Good evening. Mama Jane is joining. Charles is here. Y'all, we're quite a few people here. Hello. All right. So, are you good? I didn't ask you yet. Are you okay with Sage and or Palo Santo? Okay, cool. So I just want to start to anchor us in because I'm assuming that I'm not the only one that has lived a day today.
Lived a day, meaning
Today, you've lived a day today. Yeah.
It's still going on.
It really is. So we're gonna just acknowledge the day that we've lived already today, because what we've already lived is kind of over now. Whatever that looks like to you, it is. Like whatever we did this morning, like it's gone. Whatever we did afternoon, legit, it is nothing but a memory at this point in our life.
I've got physical things at home that reflect on what I did today. For example, I went shopping. Went to Costco. I bought things, brought them home, including 3 big pizzas for $10.
Awesome. Well,
I love it.
I'm glad you have that to look forward to. Thank you for sharing. Want to say hey to Sarah Catherine. I will not make you dizzy, Linda. Kim is here. So, first of all, welcome, y'all. Welcome. I'm really happy y'all are here. This is this expansions hasn't been available in real life for very long, just since June. It's been the thing that I've been doing for a while now. So I'm really grateful to be here in real life and have humans here with me reflecting. So I'm really grateful that y'all are here with me.
Well, we're glad to be here.
Yay. So what I want to do is just drop in with a little grounding meditation for all of us, just so that we're all in the same vibe, we're all in the same frequency. I'm going to use some tingsas to chime. So it's going to be real sharp at first, and you can follow your breath or you can follow the sound as long as you hear it. Maybe you follow the sound into your body. Maybe you follow the sound into your breath. But I invite you to let yourself be led by something, just something pure, like your breath, or sound. So I invite you to take a breath in and surrender it out. Continue to follow your breath. Let your body begin to settle into this now moment. Bring awareness and an affirmation to who you are on this earth plane, the spiritual being, this energetic body in this human form. Affirm you in this moment. Affirm all of your guides, your helpers, your ancestors, everyone that came before you on this earth plane, from your lineage directly or not. Pay them mind and love as they surround you. And bring to heart Great Spirit, the great mystery, the oneness, the creator, the source, the universe as its entirety or the absence. And recognize this oneness from which we all come from, and that you are, in fact, a fractal of. Feel this reside through you as you take your next breath in. And now we're all here on the same present page. So something that came up that I want to kind of dive into and expand is the topic of devotion. So I didn't realize my path of devotion in my life until the words were given to me. Hey, this is a path of devotion. I love when a card pops out. And recently, like, my path in my life has been a path of devotion. It's been a path to love and be a steward to this earth, first and foremost, and all life upon it, all life, all forms, and to be in service to love. Whatever that looks like, it's to be in service to love, the love that I am, the love that is within me, the love that is in everyone else, that everyone else is, whether I can see it or not. Part of my path of devotion is to recognize that sameness in all things. In yoga, it's the path of bhakti. It's the bhakti yoga. It's the path of devotion to something bigger. Cool. And I really got to thinking about it, and I was like, damn, I used to be devoted to some real messed up stuff. I used to be devoted, like, I'm talking like body, mind, spirit, heart, soul, all the things. I didn't even recognize what my devotions were to. And I was more devoted to hating myself, beating myself up, and hurting myself through my thoughts, words, and actions to me. It was like this subconscious, unbeknownst to me, that I was waking up every day. First thing I would do, I'd look in the mirror and be like, ugh, and then I would go out in the world and I would look at other people and be like, ugh, to you. I don't like you either, because look at you. Because I was so devoted to hate, actually. And really what that hate was more of a devotion to fear. I was more concentrated and focused in devoting my attention to fear in every way possible. I was afraid of being seen, of being heard. I was afraid of people seeing like my real self, this like really fragile, hurt child. I was more devoted to the fear of being judged for being seen and being found out, for people to actually see my habits, see the way I was behind closed doors. I was so afraid of that I would put on this front of anger and rage and judgment and just all of these beautiful things that we're conditioned to do and be in the world. And, it's like over my life, there's been this shift in my devotion. So now I have this new formed relationship with devotion. So I was looking up the definition of devotion because I like to do that. And it was being faithful, being loyal to something, to something. So I kind of want to open up the floor with that. So I have a question, which is ask yourself in this now moment, just this right now, what are you devoted to? And we can just popcorn it, just, I don't know, whatever. What, like, for real, be honest with yourself.
I'm being honest. Yeah, I have this compulsive disorder. It bothered me a long time. I mean, it frightened me at some times because accountedness. I have to be over accountedness, and I was committed to it. And it wasn't my modification, it was my parents' modification, of my disorder, of my behavior towards it, And I've been working on that. This was like, doing grounding skills on not just jumping to and not being satisfied with that order of it and wanting to change it. This was something I had to use grounding skills for. It used to piss people off and everything because I would see them move it just a slight little bit and I would go and and it unnerved some people because I got to take everything, not just what was moved, but everything, and then organize it again to make sure it's nothing else in each layer of whatever that thing is. It'd be chaos on me. Mm. So I've been practicing. And I would just see how long I could just not do it.
Are you now devoted then, if I'm hearing this correctly, devoted to kind of like letting things be where they are?
I'm not truly sold on it because it's a try, because anything like use the word try to, it's new to me. It's a new thing. I'm trying to be nice. I should have been there a long time ago. But, I should have been raised that way. But, yeah, I hate it when people tell me I'm trying, to be nice. Right, you've been raised that way. But anyway, let me go on to what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. It is now that I can be at ease. That's all. And that's all I was shooting for. At ease. Not be all, having all these anxieties about it. And then, remember, I'm thinking about this and I should be talking about this and I'm off track because I'm thinking of it and it's make me off track. And that's another thing that would bother me because I'm off track for conversation. So.
You're great. And thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I think that I'm glad you spoke to that a path of devotion, it's a path, right? Which means that like I take a path to get from my home to PRN. Sometimes I choose to go down another road. Sometimes I don't. And I'm like, oh my God, I got stuck in the traffic. So the path, we still get to the destination. So I think just that trying, that putting forth that focus and that attention to what you're devoted to, I think that's the work. Like that's the human. I want to share what people are saying here and kind of come back and forth. Ben is staying healthy, which I like to hear. Kenny says, that feeling of fear is what I go through myself. I tend to be devoted more toward fear and worry. Has anybody else been there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And also shares that they're not sure how to stop it. It's become a habit. which that's what I would like to talk about as well, is the habitual nature of devotion, how it can be something that is like in light and uplifting, or it can actually be something that kills us, which is cool. Hello, AJ. AJ says hello.
Oh, okay. Tell I said hello.
He says hello. Charles says that he is devoted to his family, to living a life that shows compassion and love, and to being myself. Yes. And AJ says, be patient with yourself. That's a message I think we all need to hear. Thank you for that one. What are you devoted to?
I am devoted to my involvement, my participation in PRN. I'm learning so much. I'm growing so much, and I want to contribute. I want to give back this. Given everything else that's going on in my life right now, if I didn't have PRN for support, involvement, encouragement, all good stuff, I don't know, I'd be a mess. This is as best as I can put it.
I'm grateful. Thank you for sharing that. It's a beautiful devotion to be in a place like PRN. To be a part of PRN, you're literally receiving. Any of us, I'm going to just speak for all of us, we are receiving right now. And because we're here together in this space of receiving, we're actually giving of service at the same time. So you are giving and being of service right now. We all are, because we're here. So thank you for sharing that, because the path of any devotion, right? Like, if it really is devotion, right? It comes from this place. It literally is like this energetic force field when we're living a life of devotion, that it's like this output goes poof out of our heart space. Paths of devotion, it's of love. It's of commitment. It's to loyalty. It's to faithfulness, right? Doing those things, it doesn't fall flat. It goes to something bigger. It feeds the life of something else bigger, right? It's going to clean up the earth. It's going to help to feed children. It's going to grow food for people that like to eat. Like it's going to be this, a cycle. A path of devotion is a cyclical system. So I'm glad you said that. Yeah, AJ says, if you can learn something, you can unlearn something. It's hard work and it's worth it. Definitely. What is your devotion right now, if you don't mind?
For me right now, it's probably, in my head, I feel like I'm bouncing back between two things. One is probably being devoted to my own peace, and really only taking on the things that, like, I feel like serve my own joy, because I've taken on so much in the past that I felt like I assumed served other people's joy, without paying any like attention or mind to my own. And so probably that, and then also probably just thinking about hearing people talk about like fear and stuff, just like being like truly in the present. I know for myself, I've always, with fear and my anxiety, been either tenfolds into the future, or with trauma in the past. So just trying to be present and devoted to that.
Thank you for sharing that. Like, if you think about it, right? So if we imagine a world, imagine all the human beings upon it, right? And they're ping pong style. Let's do ping pong. Imagine all the human beings in this world, and you have half, you have the other half, and you have one half that is devoted to fear, right? I'm devoted to fear, which is like the opposite of love, right? And then you have the other half that's like devoted to love, right? It's kind of like, well, first of all, like, which is just more fun, right? And if I'm going to a place in my mind of like, well, those fears hurt me before, right? Those fears hurt me before. What if I turn into the person that they are? Because I don't like that, right? So now we're living in the past and the future. We're taking ourselves out of that present moment, which then we can't be in love unless we're looking back at like the good times, which good. And that devotion to presence, I think, is like stupid powerful.
Right.
Like, my friends used to laugh at me until people started saying it, which I'm really grateful for. But like, I'd be like, how are you on this now? Like, how are you on this now? Like, on this now, how are you? And when people ask me what time it is, I'm like, well, it's now o'clock. It's now. You're always on time. It's now. Because it's the only thing that's real. Like, legit. It's the only thing that's real. I guess I think I also have a devotion to time, to presence.
Right.
Thanks for saying that out loud.
I guess I can attest to this. If you caught between two masters, and believe like the book of James, what I'm saying? He says, if you pick two masters and you go and in the wind and everything, like a reeve and everything, tossed around and everything between the things, and it's chaos, So I'm just saying, what masters you?
What masters you? That's a really great question. I love that question. Like, what masters you?
What masters you?
Yeah. Because think about that one, right? Here's that question. Like, who masters you? Like, do you master you? Or does your father, who said some stupid bullshit to you when you were a kid, or the mom that hurt your feelings or physically harmed you, or the cousin that whatever, or are they actually mastering who you are now because you're still in the space of blaming them and holding on to what they did, right? Living in the trauma. Then the trauma is
That's why
mastering
PTSD,
PTSD. Yeah.
among other things,
Mm-hmm.
referred to as PTSD.
Mhm.
I know.
Yeah. I think, I was diagnosed with it, labeled as it. And then when I really sit with it, we all have PTSD.
Mhm.
Every single human. We have all grown up in a system of oppression, a power playing system. So that means no matter how like privileged and white you are still traumatized by being the embodiment of the oppressor. You're like, no matter what, we're all totally screwed because we've all been like conditioned and traumatized and hurt and harmed against our consent. Right? So then what if we had a devotion to see not that everyone else is hurt and see them in that like painful space, because quantum entanglement, we don't need to see people like that, right? That's seeing people in lack, and then we perpetuate that, and that's just gross. That being said, if we can see that with a lens of compassion, like, oh, look, all of us in this room are a bunch of old traumatized people. Oh, like, how sweet is that? Like, I love that we're all like in that space to be able to grow through something so horrendous like this thing that we've called our own friggin' life. Because if we could walk around this earth plane and actually look at every living being like, you know what? I'm devoted to seeing the love in you. And if I'm devoted to that, then I'm not going to like see their wounds and their scars and their traumas, but I know and honor that it's a part of who they are in this polarized universe of good, bad, light, dark.
I think I was in past lives just traumatized, just felt I fit in. Past lives. I'm sorry, I never knew.
Oh yeah, well yeah, and we could definitely go into that space too, for sure. Because
I do it so well.
I know.
I must have been doing this in past life. I do it so well.
And then on that, AJ says, own and control your now.
Yeah.
Right. So if you do or don't believe in past lives, you can use your childhood as the version of your past life. You can use the the person you were before you got to who you are now is your past life.
Yeah.
You could go back, centuries and centuries and centuries and think about all of these past lives that you've lived, and you've been in all these embodiments. You've been animals, you've been rocks, you've been men, you've been women, you've been oppressors, you've been abusers, you've been abused, you've been the savior, right? You've been all of these things and these aspects of your life. And you've also been that in your own now embodiment.
Mhm.
You really have. You have been all of these past lives in this body.
Mhm.
And then, so if you own and control your now, right, then I'm going to heal all of this. I'm going to be devoted to moving through this. I'm going to be devoted to expanding into presence, into peace, into love. What else? What else are y'all devoted to?
Mhm.
For me, currently, it's being devoted to accepting and allowing, and knowing that whatever is simply is, and there is no changing that. The only thing I can change is my perception and my reaction to it.
Accepting and allowing. That's a new form of AA.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's kind of similar to AA, and yeah. And that goes into like acceptance, right? So there's a notion of radical love and radical acceptance, and to me, that's what Jesus talked about. And y'all know I haven't read the book. That's what he talked about, was like, yo, but for real, love everybody. We're all the same. Love and acceptance. Shut up. Like, that was the message. And it wasn't, no, I need you to love everybody. Well, unless they come from this territory. It wasn't conditional. It was unconditional, which means like, that's pretty radical. Like, because that means that if I just watch somebody hurt someone across the street, that my job in devotion is to still love that I got to see that, first of all, because that's traumatizing. And then to love the two people, the one that just got hurt and the one that's hurting. And then that's being in that, like, I'm allowing me to feel upset. I'm allowing my body to have a nervous system response. I'm going to accept that this is the reality that I'm currently experiencing. And then moving forward through that, which could be to anchor in more peace, or to say, well, I'm going to stand up for social justice. And, I'm going to, like, what actionary steps of devotion do we take? Because I feel like, and tell me what y'all think, I feel like acting in devotion, like being in devotion to something, there's that deep-seated, like, I'm devoted to love, I'm devoted to peace, I'm devoted to surrender, I'm devoted to whatever, right? And it has this natural output because we're being that, And then I pose this question in my mind right now, like, if I'm devoted to whatever, what's my action step? Right? Like you mentioned, like you actually come to PRN. That's a big action step. You leave your house and you get here, and you do the work and you do these things. So I'm curious for the other nuanced kind of devotions, and I'm asking all of us this question: to be in devotion to peace, to allowing, to love, then, like, what do you do about that? Right? How do you actually serve that master? What action steps?
Don't predict.
Don't predict?
No, because that's just in judgment. That's like you predicting that this person be an asshole. Then you find out that person's an asshole. What are you, psychic? It's simply, it is going to be what it is, right? But you putting in, your thoughts in it, what I'm saying, analyzing it, overanalyzing or whatever, to, when you ain't even got there and everything, what throws you off is all those predictions that you sat off on. Guess what? Then you find out you was right on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But see, that ain't guaranteed. These are not guarantees that person's gonna be an asshole. I mean, come on.
Right? Maybe.
And then when that person is, I mean, since you're gonna analyze them, did you put a backup plan for if that case that person be an asshole? I'm not gonna get all like I am,
Yeah. Yeah, that just made me
I might
think
not read
about,
on that.
right? Yeah, that made me think about one, Don Miguel Ruiz with the 4 agreements. One of them's like, don't make assumptions. And oh, I had another one that came in and I just forgot it. Can anyone recall? Can anyone assume what I was thinking?
You was like,
Come on,
you
no.
was, you was telling us the 4 agreements. Look, I'm stuck in my head about what I just said. You
Right?
see what I'm saying?
You can't
I
get in
can
mine. Come
analyze
on.
myself, and not nobody else but me. I'm analyzing me.
Well, and then that just goes to, being present with the person that's here now, right? And so I was in a class with that Shayna Small was teaching at, and love her, and she was.
I don't worry about it. We fine.
What is that?
Yeah, I'm just hoping that they come and exchange this thing because my
Gotcha.
charger is
Okay.
missing.
Oh
What the heck is that?
no. Gotcha.
The cops on.
Yeah, it do sound like the police. They do.
It really does.
They
They
do.
do. No
Um,
problem. I was
It's connected to the ankle breaker that was issued by the cops.
Right. So, and here's the thing. It's kind of to what you were saying and what I was taught by Shayna. Is does it go on for a long time?
No, it's gonna quit.
Okay, cool. And I'm like, does it go on for a long time?
I
I don't want to make an assumption either.
know.
But she was saying that we do this thing with humans. So, how many of y'all have seen Zachary before?
Seen what?
Zachary before,
I guess I've seen
Right.
it around, but
but like you haven't like really connected, right?
no.
So none of y'all have a story about him in your mind. Now, if you do, you know it's not based on anything he has said or done previous, because it's not like you've known him for 5 years. You don't know anything about this dude, right? Now, some of y'all know me, right? It's all good.
Hello.
Hey. Some of y'all know me, right?
Yeah.
So you have a story that you give me before you even recognize it. And it may be that, well, Jane's gonna come in and her hair's gonna be curly. She's gonna greet me because she always does. She doesn't ignore me. Maybe there's no telling, she's probably gonna make some stupid goat sound at some point in the conversation. Like, you have these assumptions and they're based on realities and they're really probable because you've built a story around me, right?
Oh, one more story. You like to hug too.
I do like to hug. I do.
Yeah.
That's love. And I think that when we can recognize that we do that as a human, that we put people in this repetitive story, we do it to ourselves too. And when we can recognize that and be in this devotion to presence, right? Back to what AJ said, then it's like, I'm going to see you as somebody I've never seen before. I'm going to hold you in this light of like, ooh, what's Alan going to be like today? What's Zachary going to be like today? I'm so very curious. Hi. I'm going to be in this open mind, open heart space because that's been my devotion to being present and loving and open, in surrender, in acceptance, in allowing.
Is that off guard though?
Is what?
You off guard. Being open, do that mean being off
Oh.
guard?
No, because I also trust my own intuition.
Oh,
So I'm going to assume.
Anything come up.
Yeah. So like I've known you for, I don't even know, 3 years,
Going on 4.
going almost 4 years
Yeah,
now.
going on 4.
And so I could say, oh, I know so much about Rodney and he's going to be just like this, and this today. That doesn't feel good to me. Like, I'm like, ooh, like what version of you am I going to get today? And I hope that that's how people perceive me. Because if people perceive me like, oh, well, Jane's always going to be in a good mood, then I'm not devoted to being authentic to me because I'm not always going to be in a good mood. Like I'm going to feel my feels and I might be a little angry or sad.
You express yourself well.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, all your feelings, you express yourself well.
I can't hold it back.
Why should you?
Right? I don't want to.
Now, what I've learned, there are times when I get angry and irritable, and then that's the time to say, wait a minute, slow down, why you're doing this, and just think how unpleasant it is to people around you. They don't deserve that. So, I just have to just calm down. Yeah, I have reasons to be angry and irritable, but think about it. I don't think about it, and be careful how you express it. Again, we covered so many times anger. Anger is an emotion that can be used to create positive events, positive things happening. You have to harness it. You have to use it just right.
Mm-hmm.
Use it. So
Yeah. I think being devoted to feeling our feelings and letting them move through us in a healthy way is a really potent devotion, as opposed to I'm not going to let my anger out, or I'm devoted to letting it all out. Ah! But more like I'm devoted to letting this move through me. I'm devoted to feeling my human feelings, and I'm devoted to transmuting it and feeling some love for the person that's feeling all this pain and sadness right now. I'm devoted to the person who is hurting. I'm devoted to this. I'm devoted to my own sovereignty and autonomy and freedom and these things, I'm glad you said that. I want to say hey to Holly. Also, Charles talked back about how Jesus was like, radical love, everybody. Jesus said, or Charles says, yeah, radical enough to get him killed. Yeah. And you know what? When I read that, I had this feeling of like, you know what? If I end up dying or getting killed or whatever because I was like standing up for love like I know it is, then so be it.
Yeah.
Like I'll take one for that team. I'm not going to stop my devotion, because then it's not devotion. Then you're just being like a puppet, right? But if I am in my devotion, I'm in my lane, I'm moving down my path. If a train comes and knocks me out, then I know that it was in that vibration of love. So I know that love that I was so devoted to would actually continue after I was gone.
Yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah. Now, if I'm devoted to fear,
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
No
okay.
worries.
If I'm devoted to fear and something takes me out and kills me, it just stops.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It just stops. But the love is going to keep us going. Amber's here and says, I'm renewing my dedication to my mental health by getting involved with PRN, podcast, journaling, gratitude, and reading books. Yes. Ooh, I'm glad you said that. I'd like to expand that.
It's good to read about stuff. It is.
Ooh, we say that out loud or louder
It's
again,
good
please?
to read about stuff. You can learn about different stuff as you read books and stuff about love and peace and happiness, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a leader, once you lead something, sometimes the people don't like the leader because they don't want to hear the truth.
Yes.
So
I think
that's the way I see it.
I think that's part of one of those action steps to devotion.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to sound weird. Would you take this and just pass it around to Rodney and then to Zachary and then back to me, please?
Sure.
Thank
Okay.
you. Little Palo Santo.
Okay.
It has positive energy.
That is freaky. I mean, my whole experience today is because my compulsiveness. I didn't get it locked in, and then I put it off, and I was trying to get this appointment in mental health and everything to talk to the specialist, to set up and everything where I can get treatment again. Right. So how does it ties into the cards that you got?
Everything might
And now I'm here for the card.
I got it. Charles had shared that he shows his devotion by acts of service to my family, to others around me, and to myself. That's a huge action step of devotion.
Yes.
By acts of service, and not just to others, but acts of service to ourselves, right?
Right.
Like acts of service to myself. I'm so glad you said that. Because I want to shine a light on this act of devotion, because I feel that in our culture, it's not supported, promoted, or really talked about to the extent that I feel it needs to, because we are conditioned to live in a society of go, do, be, produce, repeat. Go, do, be, do, go, go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, just like a movie
Just
or
go.
something. Just go produce
Go.
something. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's-
like,
yeah.
hold up, wait, pause. An act of devotion of only being in service to others is going to kill me. Literally, because I'm not going to know anything about my mental or emotional health. I'm going to be out of the loop of me. So having an act of devotion to be of service to self, super duper important. And I'm talking like, but for real, like taking yourself out on a date. I took myself out to dinner and I enjoyed every bite by myself. And I wasn't on the phone, because if you're on a date, you don't want to be like on a date with somebody and they're on their phone. Like that sucks. But being present with you, asking yourself, man, how was that? Talking to the server, like being really for real devoted to this experience for you, with you. Reading a book, and not because I have to read it because it's for school. Those are great. And like, what book makes my life feel lighter?
And do it in a selfish way.
Yeah, selfish in like
That's
in a
not
healthy
negative.
way.
I'm not saying be real selfish to the distraction, disturbance of just being good to yourself.
Yes.
And everything else can wait tight, Yep. In a selfish way.
Yeah. I remember I had a friend one time that we got in a beautiful discussion about selfishness. And because she was complaining that someone was selfish in her life and was very angry about that. And I'm like, well, it sounds like they're learning self-love and taking time for themselves to be with them. I think there's a huge part of devotion that goes to this like self exploration, seeing ourselves in this new present way. Like
they said in recovery, you sometimes you just got to be selfish. And I never caught on to that, but you hit on it. And it brought it home to me now.
Yay.
I have to be selfish sometimes.
Yeah. In a really loving way. Selfish and loving. Not selfish in fear.
No.
Not selfish in hoarding, but
No.
selfish in love.
Selfish and loving myself.
Yes. And for real.
And it hurts sometimes when I say I love myself. I can't, the words don't even come out right when I say I love myself. But it ain't used to being in love with myself. I hated myself.
Right. Like, think about this, right? Like, okay, so how many of y'all have ever had a partner that you were devoted to? You were faithful, you were loyal, you were considerate, anyone in your life. It could have been your kid, a puppy, a parent, a lover, whatever, right? We've had a devotion to a person, and how we treated them. Or have you ever had someone actually devoted to you, where they were just like, oh my God, like you hang the moon. Oh, I love you so much. Everything you do is like twinkle toes. God, you cook like a goddess. You dance like a queen, or, I don't know, whatever. Like these things. I used genders because I am that one that I identify as. But you know what I mean? Like that experience of that devotion. And even if you haven't really experienced it, just thinking about it, you can feel it.
I guess it spurts. I mean,
right.
I don't know how I really feel about anybody could feel the way I feel about them. I have a problem with it. I feel more for them than they probably feel for me. And this is my...
That's an assumption.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Totally an assumption.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that they're not as devoted to me, that they don't love me as much as I love them, or I can't love them as much as they love me. It's like we don't know. We don't know anything.
I bet they won't come and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They won't come and they won't remember that they are just, all the peanut butter's gone. They ain't gonna bring it home.
all the peanut butter's gone.
Yeah.
No,
I got chocolate and I don't want this chocolate alone. I want peanut butter.
not all the peanut butter. But yeah, I think that being devoted to me when I'm thinking of like my true self, you know, I'm going to be devoted to my true self, my well self, my healed self.
Yeah.
Whether I'm healed or not, if I'm devoted to that version of me,
Yeah.
then I will be honoring that. That's the path that I'm on. You know, like I know I'm never healed, and I know that I'm continually
I just
healing.
think
And then
about-
technically, I guess we're already healed if
I
you think
think
about it.
about
Just what timeline are we looking
all
at?
the people I'm pushed away because of that.
Do you want that?
Yeah.
All the people I'm pushed away because
Think
I
how
thought
much-
they didn't care about me. I didn't think they loved me as much as I did.
Right?
That we was back, we competing now, you know?
Yeah. These are the things that we do. We're silly people because we forget devotion. Like we forget, like what are we actually choosing? What's mastering us, and what am I allowing to call me forth? Am I allowing something to pull me forth, kicking and screaming and pushing and shoving, or am I being called forth? Called forth feels different. It feels like effervescence and love, and yeah, it feels good, you know. I'm going to share this card. It's an Earth card. It's an Earth Warriors Oracle deck.
Cool.
So the one that I got, it's Mama Kia. It's the mandala of the moon. Here, you can pass it around if you like. And it's talking about the lunar mother. And it says, I, the lunar mother, bring you my mandala of the moon to manifest through the law of magnetic attraction. My mandala is the sacred portal through which your dreams, intentions, and visions shall pass into the wholeness of being, from the realm of inspiration into the world of form on earth. There is no need for doubt or concern, or even the appearance of delay signifies that the divine feminine mystery is at work, with timing unfolding according to a higher loving wisdom. Trust that what's falling away is meant to be, while you have faith in the new divine works being born.
Oh, freaky. Freaky.
Yeah.
No, because I was just looking at the whole moon thing, and I've been following it for all this new change that I'm trying to put in, just to test it out, to see. I mean, come on, James, how many years you was trying to get me to do yoga, and I finally committed, you know, to yoga. These things is the path that I'm on right now. This is the trail I'm putting on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you think about it too, right? You know, so I know that the path of the moon, you know, when you look at it, it makes almost like an infinity kind of shape, just its path through like the course of its own lunar cycle. Which just reminds me that, you know, it's devoted to being on its path, right? Like it's devoted to going where it's going from our perspective, and however you want to look at that. However you want to see that matrix.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have such a very interesting relationship with the moon. I could totally do. Anyway, rabbit hole. God, rabbit hole. Stop. Oh, I did it. Oh God, come back. I can't. I want to. Oh God.
Just let it happen.
Like a full moon or something, like deja vu. Yeah.
Right? And he says, wow, that card was speaking into my life. Feel so blessed. Good vibes. Yay. Thank you for that reflection. You know, it's kind of like the moon has its path. You know, it's not straight. It's not linear. It's always going through this cycle. And every time, you know, like with anything in life, there are going to be parts that fall away. You know, if I'm going to continue my path of love and liberation for all life on earth, that means that I'm going to meet people on my path. They're like, yeah, we're on this together, right? Well, that doesn't mean that we're always going to be on this path together.
Some people fall off, some people, and then guess what? Some people add on.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't even count that you was going to have another traveler. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
even count. This is like what I said last night and everything, where the moon is now. And I thought I saw it before, you know, just days ago. You know, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna be back in another little cycle. How long is this gonna last? These are the things that, you know, kind of gets me questioned along in this whole change of, you know,
Everything.
every freaking
It's
thing.
change of
I mean,
everything.
if I think back and since I've been knowing you, how much I done went through, how much people have seen me go through,
Mm.
it just weirds me out. I mean, and I was like, you know, why was I so committed to that when I did that? The commitment I put to that. Opus expresses where I could have took it and, you know, stopped, but no, I think I went on in. All in.
Yeah.
You think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
And these are the behaviors that I'm modifying them in me. And it ain't because, you know what I'm saying, hey, it was modified to me. Think about it. That person that raised me, my father that raised that way. These are things that on this walk I'm doing,
Mm.
this travel I'm learning. Because lots of classes are coming up, and this is the key thing that's happening in my life, and I'm really looking at it in a different space now.
I feel, thank you for sharing that. Do y'all feel that too? Like whenever you're on whatever this path of devotion is, that like your perspective continues to like evolve.
Yeah,
Like this path of devotion that I've been on is like iterated itself over and over again to be something different. It's like, okay, I'm gonna have my own office space and open it to the community. That didn't really work so well. And then PRN came in. Ooh, wow, boom, expansion. And then, oh, now I have this school that I'm working with. And oh, now I have this other nonprofit that I'm working with. And it's like all these things are just poof, 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 just continually unfolding, which allows me to have this like perspective of like, ooh, this is also possible. You know, it starts to allow me to like live into this infinite potential of what is possible if I'm continually devoted and faithful and loyal to my own path, right? Because have y'all ever been in a situation, it's like spaz living, where it's like,
yeah.
it's like you're just like jumping around everywhere. You know, you're like, I had this job for a day, and then I had this job for a week, and then I had this job here, and I was in this relationship, and then we broke up, and then this, and it's everything is all over the place, and you can barely find the common thread. Right? And it's like, what? And then you're like, oh shit, I was the common thread. Oh god. And then you can take that common thread and be like, okay, well now I'm going to be the common thread in devotion. So now I'm not ping ponging everywhere so spazzy and uncomfortably. Rather, I'm moving through this thing called life like the phases of the moon. It just feels more natural and more graceful. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that people are falling off my walk, you know, and some people are joining in. I had never expected to see them in my life walking along with me. And,
Yeah.
and you know what? And it wasn't me asking them, you know, it was like volunteered, you know, walking with me,
Mm-hmm.
volunteering, walking with my crazy ass. But you know, and this is what my label is me. I'm crazy. Yeah.
I gotta go.
Okay.
I'm not well.
Okay. Keep taking care.
Take care.
I love you.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you, Alan.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I think that like I kind of like if you could have like a vision for the world where like everyone is living a life of devotion. Like I don't even think we realize that we can. I think we're just blind to so much of it.
I used to be trapped in my labels. And this is why they never got better. I accepted my label.
Yeah,
We
I
were
used-
devoted to the reality that someone else told us,
Mm-hmm.
not recognizing that we have the freedom to be devoted and to create a path of devotion that only we can create.
Yes.
One of my mantras I do is I bring up in the believer Genesis, and Adam says, I was naked. And then God says, how did you know you was naked?
Mm.
How did you know, Adam, that you naked?
Until you see something else, I guess.
Mm-mm. God put the tree of knowledge in it, and he told him not to, and he couldn't multitask, stop them from doing it. Get on Lucifer for trying to make this, you know, it's problematic sometimes, you know, simply for the devil, because he's hard at work with me all the, I tell you, this, he be on board every time. I don't even know where to get the time.
Right?
Because he multitasks. God don't. I'm sorry.
So we are coming up on the top of the hour. And I would like to share something that has helped my path of love and devotion. And it's rituals. You know, it's finding a ritual, right? It's the tantric nature that I follow. And it's a path of not habit, right? That's letting another master lead you, but the master of me, my I am self, has a ritual. And for me, it's a lot of chanting mantras, songs of devotion, right? They're songs of love. And I think I did it in yoga last time, and I haven't listened to it because I don't even wanna, but I chanted Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. And that translation is, may all beings everywhere be liberated and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions that come from me contribute to that joy and liberation in some way. Right? So oftentimes, especially when I'm getting kind of like out of my lane, I'm getting too busy and I'm too much in the blah, blah, blah life of life, then I will sing. And I sing it on like just repeat over and over and over again. Sloka samasta sukhino bhavantu. And I just go over it and over it again. So I offer that as like a tool. So some people do like prayers. I feel like some prayers are just too long for me. It's too many words. Like I'm not going to say that whole translation of Loka, but I can say Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu over and over again. So I offer that as a tool, as like a touchstone to bring us back to this path of devotion. So whether it's just asking ourselves, really, what am I devoted to? You know, can I be more devoted today? How can I show up more devoted today? How can I be an expression of my devotion? How can I be more faithful to my devotion? You know, so these are the things that I would like to put out there into all of the world is how can we be more devoted to peace, to presence, to allowance, to surrender, to joy, to love, to abundance? How can we be more devoted to abundance? You know, how can we be more devoted to pleasure, to peace? How can we be more devoted to peace? Right? Then that's the inner work that then comes out. So I'm going to close up here and then I'll close up here. I want to thank all of y'all for being here and joining and chiming in. I'm so grateful for everything that you all shared and added. Please feel free to come in real life if you're in the Charlotte area. We're at 2224 at the Plaza. And I love that you are joining in the virtual realm. It makes me really happy. So keep taking care of yourselves and each other. Keep being devoted to hopefully something that makes you feel good. Yes, Amber, namaste. Thank you. I see you. Take care, y'all. See you so soon.